This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices, and you can get a special price right now by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, so we talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago. We teased the idea out, but Tom's Hardware's birthday is right around the corner.
Well, it's pretty much now, right? I mean, so our website, Tom's Hardware, went live in spring of 1996. Now, this may come as a shock to you, but nobody who currently works there was there in 1996. In fact, originally it was just run by one person, the founder, Thomas Pass, who hasn't been with the website since 2005 or so, maybe even before that, but that's the last record I think we have of him working for the site. So anyway, we don't have the exact date that it went live because that's not archived on our site. The earliest article we can find is July 1996, but we've seen some evidence that it was April. So, we're splitting the difference. We're going to say we're going to publish an article soon about our 25th anniversary, but really it's not about our 25th anniversary because honestly, as great a website as we are, nobody wants to read about our life. No one wants to read about, what we do every day. They want to read about the technology, right? So so I took this opportunity to compare the best technology that you could get in 1996 to what is top of the line today across a lot of different categories. And what might surprise you is how similar some of it is. So how little has changed, and then in some cases, how much has changed. So, for example, the best phone you could get, the top of the line in 1996, Scott, can you guess what that might have been?
Microtac. StarTAC.
StarTAC.
Yes, we talked about that. It was in the transition point. The StarTAC came out just in that window.
Yes. So StarTAC, that was the top phone. Obviously, no internet on that. The original StarTACs could not send text messages, only receive them. Now, obviously, there was actually an attempt at a smartphone before that, the Simon Personal Communicator by IBM in 1994, but that wasn't really a mainstream product. Today, top of the line is, you can kind of take your pick. I'll go with the Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G, which is $1249 now. Obviously has a 6.9-inch OLED display, dual cameras that shoot 8K video, 11 hours of active use. Obviously, when the StarTAC lasted 60 minutes or less of talk time. So obviously, big change in phones with the emergence of smartphones and the quality stuff that they have, like really great cameras.
Of course, with the StarTAC, you did have that removable battery, which is something that you and I have lamented a number of times.
Yeah,
is the loss of that.
That is sad, but if you only have 60 minutes of talk time, you would need to have what do you call those things that like Chewbacca wears or whatever, or other people wear, where they have like their little gun shells?
Yeah.
A bandolero or something.
Something like that.
You just need a bandolero of batteries for 60 minutes of talk time. You'd have to be just taking it out and putting it in.
We sold a battery for them that you could put AA's in.
There you go. So there was a lot of innovation there too, because the antenna kept coming out, right? And you could get replacement antennas.
We sold those too.
I by the way did have a StarTAC. I didn't get I was a little later to the market than that. I think the one I got was like 1999 or 2000. But so for the monitors, obviously that's been a huge change. One of the biggest changes besides phones has been monitors. Uh, I mean, the thing that is similar is we still use monitors, but I guess that was predictable. But the best monitor that you could get by, that I've seen by research, or one of the best was in 96, was the Sony Multiscan 20 SE2. That was 1999. And for that, you had a 21-inch monitor uh, with a maximum resolution of 1600 by 1200, and it weighed 66 pounds and was 19 inches deep. This desk, now I'm really aging myself here. This desk that I'm sitting at here, I have had this desk since about 1997. It's almost as long. And I bought it because I wanted a desk that was deep enough to hold a large screen monitor at the time. So what is top of the line today? Well, if within reason, the top of the line is probably the LG 27GN950, which is 1160 and gives you 4K gaming at 144 hertz with FreeSync or G-Sync support. And that weighs only 16.9 pounds and is just 2.1 inches thick. Now, if money is no object to you whatsoever, then I would suggest the top of the line is the Alienware AW5520QF. Say that 3 times fast. And that is a 55-inch OLED panel, OLED screen that operates at 120 hertz. And that is a little big. It's 59 pounds, but it's still only 3.1 inches thick, and it's $3,000. So actually more than top of the line was the 96, but generally speaking, the high-end monitors are $1,000 or less, and you can get a really good monitor for, as we've talked about, under $300. Now, what about this? The mouse. So what was the top of the line mouse in 1996, Scott, do you think?
Oh, that is a 1996. That's probably before it's definitely a ball mouse at that point, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's before the Microsoft ergonomic mouse, almost certainly. I don't know. Something Logitech-y?
The mouse that came out in that fall was the IntelliMouse.
Okay.
The first IntelliMouse.
Okay.
But it was the IntelliMouse. The first IntelliMouse had the curved shape, but it was a ball. It was a ball mouse. They didn't add the optical sensor for a couple years later, but it was the mouse that popularized the scroll wheel.
Yeah.
Before that, there had been like a couple of. I think there had been 1 or 2 off-brand, not well-known mice that had scroll wheels, but Microsoft took the scroll wheel mainstream. Now, you could say that a lot has changed in mice, and but a lot has stayed the same. You're still using a mouse, and you're still moving around the desktop the same way. So it hasn't. The fundamental paradigm is the same, but the ball has been replaced by a sensor. There are more buttons, and you can do high speed, and you can do competent, and you can do wireless really well. So I say that that's more evolutionary than revolutionary.
Yeah.
Now, skipping ahead to some of the other things that are on my list of 12 items here, we have some components as well. So what do you think the fastest processor was in 1996?
We had this conversation. I'm trying to remember what it was. I'm thinking that it was
what megahertz speed do you think it was?
In 96, let's say 66. Or 125.
No, 200.
200? Okay.
200. Yes. 200. So
and what proc was that?
That was there was an Intel Pentium P54C model that the top megahertz was 200. A lot of people were on 66, or I think 133 and 166 were more common,
Mm-hmm.
but 200 was the bleeding edge.
Okay.
Today, of course, we could argue about which one to choose, because there was an embarrassment of riches. But I'll go with the Ryzen 9 5950X. I mean, obviously, they're high-end desktop processors and server processors that do more. But for an end user perspective, the AMD Ryzen 9 5950X runs around 5 gigahertz, has 16 cores and 32 threads. So that's, really good. And that's about $800. Uh, so, how much RAM do you think was top of the line in 1996?
Let's see. Let's go for. Oh, I'm gonna make a guess, and I'm gonna sound stupid, I bet. Let's go with 8 meg.
So top of the line was 64 meg.
Okay.
In fact, you could sort of say that 1996, the amounts of RAM are similar to today if you exchange gigabytes for megabytes.
Okay.
Low, really low end would be 8 megabytes. Mid range would be 16. High end would be 32, and 64 would be like people who are video editors type of people. So similar to today, except 1,000 times more today. Exactly 1,000 times more.
That's crazy.
Right? And it was EDO RAM, which operated at a much slower pace than DDR4, and this year we're going to be at DDR5. So, we also have on my list here storage drive, graphics card, case and power supply. Case and power supply have changed very little.
I was going to say,
that
sounds like a category that's going to be disappointingly evolutionary.
Yeah, very, very little. I mean, we still use ATX. So ATX came out around 95, 96, so it was new then. And we still use ATX style cases and ATX style power supplies, although with more wattage and more dedicated lines for the graphics card and the CPU,
and modular capabilities and all kinds of weird little add-ons, but still pretty pretty static.
And the price was about similar, about $60 to $90 would get you 230 to 250 watts. I mean, today people still use 400, 500 watts a lot. So it's not, I mean, I guess that's double, but I mean, there are people who use less. So actually, the world of power supplies has not changed that dramatically. We do have some other smaller form factors now.
We have lights.
Yes. But I mean, finally, and I'll leave the rest of this to folks to read when this article goes up on Saturday. We have connectivity and networking. What was the fastest speed you could connect to the internet at in 1996?
Ooh, I imagine we're talking consumer.
Yes.
Okay.
Consumer.
I was T3. Let's see. 54.
33.6.
Really? We weren't even there yet.
6 had not come out yet. So that tells you something. And 56.
I just discarded 236 30 about 2 weeks ago.
Yes. And that was really top of the line. I think a lot of people were still on 28 or 14.4. So, yeah. Or if you wanted to connect your devices to each other at home or in the office, 100 base T internet was Ethernet. 100 base T Ethernet was the standard. Obviously, today we've got many more ways to get online besides, well, nobody uses dial-up anymore, very few people. We
We
have
actually did a
Wi-Fi 6.
we actually did a story on GNC Week in Review a couple of weeks ago. There are still, if I remember correctly, AOL still has 38,000 dial-up customers.
38,000.
Yeah,
At this point,
which
you
is
would think that they
which
would
is
stop the
40.
business. It would not be
Yeah,
worth it.
I was to say, which is 40,000 more than I was expecting. I, you know what I mean? It seems
I
like there
mean,
would be
there's
less
really
than zero.
no, yeah, I mean, because I don't know, it probably doesn't even make business sense to keep providing that service.
Well,
Uh,
it's somebody else's
can
problem
you
now.
even, yeah. Um, so, you know, Wi-Fi 6 is obviously the new standard.
6E.
Um, 6 and 6E.
Yeah.
6E is, they're just coming out with some 6E routers right now. I don't think there's actually anything with native 6E in like your laptop or anything like that.
Nope.
And 6 and 6E are actually the same speeds. It's just 6E will give you, I think, better connectivity.
Something like
10
that. They were
and
they were
obviously,
on the show during CES. So if people want more information, our CES coverage has it.
yeah. I mean, the theoretical maximum of both is 9.6 gigabit per second. Uh, but obviously, you'd be better off with 6E. 10 gigabit Ethernet is common, and 5G wireless. So even if you can't get a wire to your home, 5G wireless seems like if you live anywhere with cell reception, you'd be better off with 4G, 5G, or even 3G over using the dial-up. But
Indeed.
we have uh, we have some more information about some of the other things that have changed not that much in the last 25 years. And I encourage people to check out the article when we send it live on next Saturday.
I love these types of things, especially when you're running point on them, because there's always a surprise in it. Even though I have boxes of these components around, which is weird, but still, I I don't remember the exact details of that time, and it's
Yeah,
really interesting to hear. RAM is literally 1,000x different.
yeah, it's like exactly 1,000.
It's
Now,
bonkers.
I just full disclosure, my main method for researching this, like what was common at the time. I mean, I was there, but I don't remember exactly what happened.
Sure.
Exactly what everything was, the price of, is that books.google.com has a lot of old computer magazines.
Mm.
So if you leaf through, specifically, they have a lot of old PC Mag issues. So while there have been some stories that people have done on, the history of some of these products, to look back at what like RAM was selling for and what configurations of RAM you could get at the time, I just looked through some old issues of PC Mag and I was looking at all the ads that they had, which would tell you like, okay, this is how much these are the different, the highest end config has 64 meg. So that's, that information is out there and you can go and see what, just reading the ads is actually more informative than reading the articles.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It's a great way of looking for it. I look forward to seeing the article. It sounds like a lot of fun. Storage sounds like it's going to be a fun one to read about, and so are video cards. So,
Zip drives.
I've got several of them. One of them I can see from where I'm sitting. They were great transitional technology. even though
I loved zip drives.
I know there's an article that goes around on Facebook from time to time, dumping on them, and I'm like, no, incorrect. This person was not alive, and in a place where they needed storage in that time, because I was doing media for a church, and the zip drive is the thing that made it so that we could easily have like big PowerPoint presentations and move them between rooms. Couldn't have done it. There was no real networking at the time, so thank goodness for zip drives. Anyway, I look forward to this, and as always, Avram, I look forward to what we talk about next. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Piltch Point with Avram Piltch. If you did, please subscribe to our channel, and of course hit the notification bell, since subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. And if you've got topics you'd like us to discuss in the future, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you don't want to follow us on YouTube, that's okay. There's a lot of other ways that you can follow our content. You can find all of that by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all the different ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.